like seeing them in a shopping centre or something like that, and had brief conversations with them then. And in both the cases of those, they were girls that one had graduated but then cut herself off completely from Mercy, and is still having problems now. And another was a girl who had been dismissed just after I left. So a few weeks after I left, she had been dismissed.
And I believe while you were there, you were sort of denied access to things like Panadol when you had headaches?
For me, I was. I suffered from severe migraines, and I have done since I was a very young child. Pretty much they just told me that I was faking it for attention. I was in a really bad way one weekend on a Saturday, and I was actually in the office when my mum called to speak to me, and I was hysterically crying, so I wasn't really in a position to talk at that stage. But the staff member that was on then actually managed to convince my mum that I was just faking it and that I didn't need medication, I didn't need anything except discipline. And in that case, my mum was of that belief that I had been faking that right up until the articles came out in March this year. I got a phone call from my mum, and she was almost in tears. And she's just apologising to me. And I'm like, Mum, what are you apologising for? You know, what's wrong? And she told me about the articles, and she said, I'm sorry, I never believed you. So they were very good at manipulating your parents as well, and convincing them that, you know, you were only faking things. And my mum was quite upset when she found out that, you know, that there were other girls who had problems with Mercy, and that it wasn't just me who had those kind of issues.
Yeah, so, I can imagine that would be emotionally distraughtful for any parent to know that their kid had been through something like that. Yeah,
definitely.
And we discussed earlier that they wouldn't let you take your sleeping pills either, your sleep medication. Shortly
after I was, shortly after I got there, they took them off, me off them.
Now, tell us about the sort of end of the process. How did you were there for 8 months. We've talked about the process going in. What was the process coming out? How did you end up leaving Mercy?
Okay, probably, I think it's about in the October. I can look back on my journal entries and actually find the date. But it's in the October of 2005. I was actually put on probation, pretty much. They put me on probation because they told me I wasn't trying hard enough, because they told me that I didn't want to get better. And they also kept telling me that there were many girls out there who wanted my place in the house, and I didn't actually deserve to be there. That was in the October. I had a review again done in the November, in late November, where I went in and talked to the two staff members, like the counsellor and the program manager, and then I was sent away from the room because they wanted to decide my fate. I very almost nearly went then. I don't know the reasons for why they decided to give me another chance in their eyes. But I then stayed a few more weeks, and it wasn't until a couple of weeks after that they actually dismissed me.
When you say that they said you weren't trying hard enough, how did they determine that? What was it that you were supposed to be doing that they didn't think you were doing?
I'm not sure. I actually did everything that they asked me to do. I did all my homework. I think I was only ever late with my homework once. I was also, I also at the end, after the second review that I had in the November, I was told that I had to come and report to staff 2 times a day to say what I was learning from Scripture. And every time it had to be something different. So, you know, twice a day it was around about 3 weeks. I had to go and had to report to staff and say what I was learning and say what I was doing. And that was really difficult.
That sounds like an enormous amount of pressure to put somebody under. I mean, and not to mention somebody who's, in this establishment because you're already, feeling depressed, and they're putting you under a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure at the end. I mean, my birthday is in December, and on my birthday, I actually didn't go to staff and report. The next day, I got into a lot of trouble, like I'm talking a colossal amount of trouble, because I didn't go to report to staff on my birthday. So pretty much they put me in a position where I really wasn't allowed to enjoy my birthday. And, that wasn't really, I can't say it was one of the best birthdays I've ever had. But, it was just expected that I would go and talk to them 2 times a day, tell them what I learned.
So
it had to be, fairly in-depth stuff.
In retrospect, what do you think their real reasons were for wanting to get rid of you?
I have no idea. I think some staff members took a dislike to me from the beginning. I'm aware of that. I believe that because of what happened with medication-wise and being not allowed to say that I was feeling sick or anything like that. I wasn't allowed to do that. And my thing is, I did everything, as I said, I did everything they asked of me. So I'm not exactly sure why they said I wasn't trying hard enough and that I didn't want to get better. And I suppose that's what kind of really crushed me. But when I left, was the fact that they told me I didn't want to get better when that wasn't the truth. So, yeah.
So, the circumstances of your departure, were you thrown out, or did you willingly just leave?
No, I was dismissed, so I was thrown out of the program. They actually came and told me, I was called into the office the day before we were due to leave for Christmas holidays, and I was brought into the office with, I think it was about 4 or 5 staff members. And pretty much I was just told that I was being dismissed and that I was not allowed to return after holidays. I was pretty upset about that. And then I was forced to call my parents and tell them. But instead of sending me home on the day they dismissed me, they actually kept me until the next day, separated me from everybody else, and kept me till the next day and actually flew me home the next day. I flew home the next day.
Why did they keep you there for another day?
I don't know. I really can't tell you why they kept me there. I mean, it was pretty horrifying what I went through when I was kept there, because I was separated from everybody. I was forced to sit in an office for a few hours, and then when I came out to have dinner, I was actually not allowed to talk to anyone. I wasn't allowed to pass notes. I wasn't allowed to have eye contact with anyone. If someone asked me a question, I actually couldn't answer them. And then that night, I wasn't allowed to do class. I had to go and pack with a staff member, and I actually had to sleep on the staff room floor that night because they didn't want me to have any contact with girls. So I think if they had sent me home the day that they dismissed me, I think it would have been a lot less traumatising than what they actually did.
Yeah, no, it sounds like they put you in solitary confinement. So,
pretty much, yeah.
After you left, what kind of a mental and emotional state were you in?
I was pretty destroyed in myself. I truly believed that no one could help me but Mercy.